3, 2, 1, yo! What's going on, Arkansas fans? Whoop! There's the Hunter Yurchek comments from earlier, what he posted on Twitter. How you guys doing? Flamingo Friday. Got the shirt, got the specs, the shades. It is happening today. Now, a little later than normal. We had the Wednesday live stream, was it Wednesday? Yeah, birthday live stream Wednesday. That went pretty well. The Call of Duty live stream celebrating the birthday. It was great. I want to say a special thank you to everybody who was able to make that. We got to interact with some fans. Got to play some Call of Duty, baby. What's up, Dylan Bray? How you doing, my man? Rob says, "What's up?" Let's hear about this new commit. Robert Ainsworth. Got a couple of Robs in the chat. What is up? How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. I hope you had a wonderful week. I'm gonna crack open this cold Mountain Dew. Oh, it's Mountain Dew. It's not a beer this time. So for those of you doubting the dewness, nothing like a cold Mountain Dew. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for showing up through the. For the birthday live stream, those of you who came through, and again, it was fun meeting some of you guys. We had some technical difficulties getting everybody on Discord, and then I think it was Tyler Edmonson who wasn't able to, who joined our Discord, but then he couldn't get his mic. I don't know what happened. I don't know what was going on. That could have been a technical difficulty. Could have been my fault. I don't know. But Tyler, if you're listening, that's my bad, man. Let's see. The first one is always the best. Well, there you go. Again, hope you had a wonderful week. If you haven't already, like the video. You're probably hearing my kids scream in the other room. They, they don't look. They didn't even think I was gonna go live like that. It's like 5:30. It's 6. It's 6:30. You're not going live tonight, so they're in there just goofing off, being loud. You're probably gonna either hear or see them run in this room, I'm sure. So, yeah, if you haven't already, feel free to tap the subscribe button, hit the like button, check out all the links down below in the description box to all the Patreon supporters. I really do appreciate you guys, and to everyone who've thrown a tip in the old PayPal tip jar. I appreciate you. You guys, I really do appreciate that. Okay. Recruiting news literally just happened. Right as I'm taking the shades off. Those can only stay on for so long. Arkansas flipped a defensive tackle from Texas Tech. How about that? This is, look, Texas Tech. Sorry, not sorry, but it's nice that we were able to flip somebody from you. So we'll get in on that here in just a second. Let me pull up all of our stuff. By the way, for those of you who've been living under a rock for the last 48 hours, masks they're now mandatory in the state of Arkansas. There are already, I think, 6 towns where it was like you had to wear a mask if you're out in the open. Walmart and Sam's Club throughout the entire country, you cannot go into any of their stores without a mask on. So just a heads up for those of you traveling out of state for the weekend, trying to escape this southern humidity, and you're wanting to, whatever you're wanting to do, travel up north or something. If you try to go to a Walmart without a mask, heads up, you got to wear a mask. So, yeah. But more and more, we're starting to see more and more places kick these mandates into, put them into law. I'm sure it's in my head, but do taste better in a can, doesn't it though? And you know what's weird? A lot of things taste different. Like, I'm not a big fan of the plastics. I don't know what it is. The only thing that actually tastes good out of like a 20-ounce plastic bottle, Coca-Cola actually tastes. That's the best you're going to get Coca-Cola, in my opinion. But Pepsi, Mountain Dew, hell, even Sprite, it's better in a can. And, yeah. UARC doing really well recruiting Oklahoma. So they just continue to go into Oklahoma, and it's crazy to me, that pipeline that it's just working out. We've already had some people not super thrilled with this commit, but apparently he is a baller. He's really high on the technique scale. Let's talk about him really quick. let's get into that. 3-star defensive tackle Solomon Wright was committed to Texas Tech. Arkansas flipped him today. 6 foot, right around 270, 275. Out of Vienne, I think that's how you pronounce it, or Vienne, Oklahoma. Top 45 defensive tackle in the country according to 24/7 composite rankings, and top 25 according to just the 247 loan ratings. He has other offers from Iowa State, Kansas, Mizzou, and Oklahoma State. Obviously committed to Texas Tech. I believe, I could be wrong on this. Feel free to check the message boards. I'm sure you'll get some more solidified information there, but I think the time that he committed to Texas Tech, Oklahoma State was very, very much recruit. Like, this kid is, it's not like he just committed to Texas Tech because Texas Tech is desperate for defensive tackles. Like, he had more than one Power 5 offer on the table that was a legitimate offer, that was a committable offer. So, Odom wanted him. Odom has had some success with shorter defensive tackles. You've had these guys that are 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", 285, 275, 290 do pretty well at this level, at this level of college football. So I mean, look, it's not like Arkansas hasn't had shorter defensive tackles commit before in the past and them not contribute to some capacity. I think it's a pretty good commit. I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him, to be honest with you. I'd only heard they were interested in him not that long ago. I kind of watched like what I could find and then didn't really – I just wasn't sure that they would flip him so quickly. And he decommitted from Texas Tech. This is what you get for having like 40 tabs open. Goodness gracious. Where's it at? I know I have his – here we go. He decommitted from Texas Tech on today. And so, yeah, I didn't think they would flip him because he got the offer from Arkansas on today, as a matter of fact. But I had heard that they were interested. They were sending out a lot of offers. And a lot of the rumors started to kind of spiral because of the defensive tackle, Tyus Martin. The 6'3", 318-pound 3-star here out of the state. He's top 5 in the state. He never got an Arkansas offer. He committed today, by the way, to Colorado. So then I was going through my list of DMs and text messages, and I had seen where his name had popped up. So I'm scrolling down, and I'm just seeing like little slides of all these players that they had offered. They'd offered more than one defensive tackle. They were interested, and then they actually pulled the trigger today, and they accepted his commit. How many times have they done that now? How many times have they offered a kid and then took his commit ASAP? That's 3 times now. One of those kids have decommitted, Landon Rogers out of Little Rock. He was offered, I don't remember his offer date, but he committed on the spot. And then you had another player. It was the linebacker. Where's he at? I'm going to find him here. Hang on. We'll get to him in just a second. Marco Avant, who they offered, early April. He committed the same day. It's the same situation here. So, they're desperate. Apparently, they're not desperate enough because they never offered a kid in the state of Arkansas who has several Power 5 offers. I always found that interesting with the whole Tyus Martin situation. I really couldn't tell you why they never offered him, by the way. I have no idea. He had some pretty decent Power 5s, obviously Colorado being one of them. And he is a top 5 player in the state of Arkansas, according to 247. I don't know why Arkansas never offered him, but then they go and offer this kid, Tyus, who's bigger, 6'3". I mean, he's what we always talk about. And I remember this being a complaint in the Houston Nutt era in the early 2000s, that his defensive line was too small. And he was getting these guys that were 6 foot, 270 pounds, 265, 270, 275. He wasn't getting these big-bodied SEC defensive linemen. I mean, Tyus Martin, now, obviously, fast forward 17, 15 years later, and here's you accept the commitment from a far smaller defensive tackle in Solomon Wright. By the way, having a conversation with another group of friends of mine, they say that 6 foot might actually be stretching it. He might be closer to 5'11". Now, I don't know. I hope that's just a bunch of smoke. It very well could be. We know that high schools, I can tell you this right now. I think I was listed in high school. I'm 6 foot. I was 6'2". All right, my sophomore year in high school at Fayetteville. And I can remember our coach writing out on the depth chart, putting me down at like 6'3" and added like 15 pounds. It's a thing. We know it's happened. We've talked to kids who that's happened to. I've talked to kids. It's a thing. They do kind of stretch, and then universities do the same thing. You'll see a guy. Who was it that was offensive lineman here that we had listed at like 6'6". It was in the end of the Houston Nutt era, I think. They listed him at like 6'6", 320 pounds. He gets to the NFL Combine. He was 6'4", 295. So it's not hard to imagine that they kind of stretch these out a little bit. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that he's probably not 6 foot, 270 pounds. So you offer him, you take his commit on the same day, and yet they never even offered Tyus Martin. And I don't know. I guess if you want to compare their offers, Wright's offer list is a little bit better, in my opinion. Again, you're talking about a couple of Big 12 schools, 2 SEC schools for Wright. So I've heard he's really athletic for his size, and that's really all that I have. Again, this is all so new. He just committed. They just offered him. But I knew there had been interest in him. There were several other defensive tackles. I don't have the list pulled up in front of me right now, but there are several other defensive tackles. I don't know how many they're actually going to take. That might be a good question for, Trey Biddy, Danny West, Richard Davenport, Nicky Chavanel. I have no idea how many defensive linemen they plan on taking. But that puts them at, right now, so by the way, that's 4 players committed from the state of Oklahoma, 4 from Texas, 2 from Arkansas, 1 from Florida, 1 from Georgia, 1 from Louisiana, 1 from Missouri. But that puts them, that's their first defensive line commit of this class. And I firmly believe they're going to go after at least, or take the commits of at least 3 or 4 more defensive linemen by the time this is all said and done. I'll say this, I think that depth-wise, it's been worse. It's just the talent. Excuse me, Mountain Dew's kicking back up. It's just the talent that you question a little bit. Like, what's the ceiling of some of these kids? Then you had a highly rated player transfer out, go to Oklahoma State. So, what is the talent? What is the quality depth? Remember, that's a word we use here quite a bit, especially when we talk about just recruiting and filling up the depth chart. How much quality depth do you have? Defensive line, that's a really good question. It's just all unproven right now. It's all unproven. You can make that argument for probably about 90% of Division I Power 5 schools outside of the blue bloods, right? Like Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. Like they've got quality depth. They're loaded up with 4- and 5-star talent. But in Arkansas situation, you're a little bit more thin in those areas. Solomon Wright. Look. Anytime you flip a kid from Texas, any Texas school, I'm okay with that. Rakeem Boyd makes the Doak Walker Award watch list for 2020 and 2019. He averaged just north of 6 yards a carry with 1,133 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. We also forget he's a Swiss Army knife in the backfield. He caught the ball out of the backfield 19 times for 160 yards. Didn't score through the air, but he did make the preseason Doak Walker Award watch list for 2020. 4-star wideout Ketron Jackson, another crystal ball on July 13th. This is from Horns 247 Mike Roach, who's obviously, he's basically their Trey Biddy over on Horns 247. So Mike Roach has given him that's the 6'2", what's he, 100 and what was he, about 180, 6'2", 6'3" wideout. Again, he could be 6 foot for all we know, but I think he's probably legit 6'2" at least. But another crystal ball for him to Arkansas. So, and we talked about this on the Hog Talk, and I don't remember when this all happened, but don't forget about the kid out of Greenland. Shout out to Greenland, everybody. Got to be their first, has to be their first high school athlete, football player to actually be given an offer from the University of Arkansas. They're 5 miles down the road, 7 miles down the road from campus. If anyone doesn't know where Greenland is, you go out to the Fayetteville Airport, and you're right there. Like, you're there. Once you get to the airport, there's Greenland. And then if you blink, you miss it. It's not a real big town. I don't know the population, but, I just always had a friend that played high school football there. His son actually plays at Greenland. Matthew Goad, my friend Daniel's son, plays for Greenland. But J.J. Hollingsworth gets an offer from Arkansas. It's got to be their first. It has to be. I can't ever recall Greenland getting maybe even their first Division I offer for a high school athlete. I'm sure they've had others, but so congrats to them and congrats to J.J. Hollingsworth. He's 6'4". In case those of you who don't know, 6'4", 250-pound defensive end. For the 2022 class, by the way, not 2021. So let me get back to comments really quick. I know you guys are. Let's see. We have 14 commits. Probably should have 15 or 16 at least. Well, I'm sure. May 1st, 2020 commit Texas Tech. Yeah, that's right. His dad played at Oklahoma State. He did. I saw that. His dad did play at Oklahoma State. I was thinking grades. I've heard that about the player we were just talking about, Tyus. I've heard that there might be a grade situation there. I'm not entirely sure. But I've also, look, that's the question. In January, when February is around the corner, assuming we have signing day on time in the first week of February in 2021, there are kids that won't be in class. They're not going to class. They're going to be at home homeschooling. They're going to be doing everything through, virtual, through home. And are you going to hold those grades against those kids? Some of them may not have reliable internet. Some of them may not have a reliable PC. I know in Springdale they're handing out Chromebooks. But not every district is as fortunate as Springdale Public or Fayetteville Public Schools or Bentonville Public Schools. These kids are going to have limited access to their teachers, and I'm look, Otai here was not exactly a A+ student in high school at Fayetteville, all right? At Fayetteville and West Campus. I went to both campuses. It's nice to be in that environment, to have a teacher there. And in some classes, you were fortunate enough you had a teacher's aide who would kind of come around and help the teacher. And it's nice to be in that environment. These kids aren't going to have that. So we're talking about grades, and that's a good point, Dylan. I appreciate you bringing that up. But are we going to hold that against these kids? And you're talking about the 2021, 2022 prospects. Good Lord. It's crazy to me how much COVID has just screwed up so much. Obviously there's more serious things like people losing their lives, but it's just thrown everything off track completely. And I don't know how the NCAA is going to look at these situations and go, well, maybe he was just a point below what he was supposed to have or whatever to qualify for Division I. And every conference kind of has their own different set of standards as well, and every school has their different set of standards. How you look at that and go, no, sorry, you were just a little shy. So they're going to have to completely reevaluate this whole thing. 6 foot in cleats. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Mark Douglas says, same happened to me. Coach listed me 2 inches taller, 20 pounds more than I was. I didn't mind it. I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll be 6'3", 2 whatever. I think I was 250. I think my sophomore year, and I think they had me listed at like 265. Thus, it is key to get recruits to campus or camps for real numbers. Yeah, and I agree with that. But there are, again, we see it happen in college too, where they're listed taller and bigger than they are, and then they go to the NFL Combine. Those that are fortunate enough to do that, and they're way smaller. I went to school with his father at Vienna. Oh, cool. All right. That's pretty neat, Jack. Yeah. So, let's see. What else do we have? We talked about Catrone. And by the way, so I get this asked. People ask me this all the time. First off, a lot of you know my hatred for NCAA 14. I hate that game. If you don't know, if you're new here, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I will shit talk that game because I hate it. And before you troll, like, it's because you suck. Oh, no. Actually, I move the sliders to make the game harder. I have so many issues with that game, but it primarily because of recruiting. It's so bad on that game. So Madden, let's get to an actual I assume is going to be a better game. Although NCAA or Madden 20 rather was not very good at all. Madden 20 was actually pretty bad. Madden 21, they're introducing where you could play 10 college programs, and I had the list. It's I think it's Texas, Miami, Clemson, Alabama. I want to say Nebraska was on there. But you could take 10 schools on Madden 21. On Madden 21 and play those schools for 2 years in Dynasty mode. That's pretty cool. But, look, I'll take it. That actually hypes me up for Madden 21. Madden 20, I don't know what it was. I don't know if the mechanics, I don't know what was. Madden 20 just was not it, man. Madden 20 was not good. And what's strange is Madden 19 was so much better. It just felt fluid. The game felt fluid. The gameplay felt fluid. But Madden 21 ratings are out, and if you didn't know, they put out the top 10 of every position. Hunter Henry did not make the top 10. Hunter Henry, who played, I think he missed, 4 games last year and still had really, really strong numbers for a tight end. The guys that were rated ahead of him, some of them he had more touchdowns, some of them he had more yards, some of them he had more catches, and he still missed more games than some of those other players, and they don't put him in the top 10. Although, I believe he's actually tied for 10th. So he's somewhere, overall, he is the 10th. Someone corrected me on Twitter and said that was the case. I don't know. I couldn't find it. I tried looking it up. That's a travesty if you don't have Hunter Henry as a top 10 tight end. I'm not saying he's the best. He should be top 5. He's got to be in there, though. He's respectable, right? I mean, he's a damn good tight end. How you don't have him on that list is just absurd, sir. It's just absurd. It is what it is. It is. School's a lot easier for me. My ACT test I was supposed to take tomorrow got canceled for me. Oh, well, good for you, Jacob. Anything 2020 is bad, even the games. Except Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone, Mr. TW. No one will ever beat NFL Football 2K5. Never played it. I was getting good at Madden 20 online, head-to-head. My ranking glitched to where it didn't show anymore. I quit playing for the most part. Probably not getting Madden 21. I am because you could play. Who doesn't want to have the opportunity to play at least 2 seasons as a college dynasty? Now, my question is, what teams are they going to allow, the opponent? Okay, so you've got Texas on there. I think Texas is one of the schools. And I think Oklahoma is as well. Maybe it's just Oklahoma out of the Big 12 and not Texas. Regardless, are you going to show, Alabama, there's an even better example. I don't know why I didn't lead with that. Are you going to show Arkansas on there? Are you going to get – you're not going to get names. We know that. They can't do that. You're not going to get names. What they used to do on NCAA, well, they always did. You could always download an updated roster, though, with the names from the community locker room. But what they used to do is just had the numbers. I'm okay with that, but maybe you have a bunch of fictional. I'm assuming they're going to have a bunch of fictional names. But are you going to provide the other schools on Alabama's schedule? And if so, then why not just have at least all Power 5 football, all those teams provided on Madden 21? Why not just select anyone? I'm telling you guys, and this is old news. We knew about this several weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and we talked about it. I think we're inching our way to NCAA football coming back. I think we are. I think we're inching our way there. How do you see Hudson panning out this year with our tight end depth being so slim? I know, and they move a defensive end over to the tight end position, Blaine Toll. So Hudson's going to see the field. They're not going to have a choice. Toll's an athlete. I fully expect to see him on the field to some capacity. I don't know what that is, what that'll be, but I don't really know. In this system, we'll have to wait and see. I think they're going to utilize whatever talent they have. The good news is, even if Hudson doesn't live up to the 4-star and to the name, obviously because of his older brother, Hunter, if he doesn't live up to the name, skill position, the talent, this is the best I think they've had, I've said before, since maybe the Petrino era. Now, the question is, and someone made the comment in one of my other videos, I think it was YouTuber Trump, I think said this, that the everything starts or begins and ends with the offensive line or whatever. The offense is going to be better because the offense can only function with the offensive line. Something to that effect. And he's not wrong, but you've also got to have a capable quarterback, and it helps when you have really good skill position players at wideout and obviously Rakeem Boyd. And I think the running backs are in really good shape. I'm really excited about Monte Spivey. I really hope he sees the field because he might be your future at that position. I know you've got a transfer and you've got some other guys coming in, but I think Spivey. I mean, when he was recruited and when he was touted as someone who could probably see playing time the first 2 years on campus just about anywhere he went. Obviously, outside of like Alabama, and I don't remember his offer list exactly, but somewhere like Arkansas, even with the thin talent that you have there, we still have some talent at that position. And Rakeem Boyd, obviously, he's an all-American caliber running back. I think, anyways, about Rakeem Boyd. That's the caliber of back that he is. Despite that, I think Spivey sees the field a little bit. But so the good news is, even if Henry, if Hudson doesn't perform, you're going to have some other options. I hope that he does. It'd be so nice to line him up. Go back and watch his high school film. There's some film of him when he came up here and he played Springdale. And they line him up everywhere. The boundary, they'll line him up at the slot position. And I realize we're talking high school. There's a big difference between high school and college. I know, but I mean, he's got some pretty good moves for someone that size. He's pretty athletic for someone that size. I don't know why he did. I can't remember the exact reason why he didn't see the field more last year, but time will tell with him. But it just depends on how Briles utilizes him in this offense. You know, with it being the shoot and veer. No, they just have them play other teams in the game. Right, but if you're talking about the Madden, the Dynasty, right, so those other teams, are they going to have them play, if it's a Dynasty, because it's 2 years, you get to play 2 years as a college team, are you going to play a conference schedule, and if so, is that conference schedule going to actually include real Division I NCAA football teams, or are they going to be made-up generic teams, which could also be the possibility, I don't know. Tanya Henry. Yo! What's up, Tanya? Thanks for joining. I have NCAA 14. You can still download rosters. Yes, you can. And there is one specific guy who has great rosters every year for Arkansas. Arkansas is 84 overall as of now. Are you talking about, is it Vikings fan? I've downloaded that PS3 roster. I think it's Vikings fan, and then there's Michigan Boss Hog or something. He's had really good rosters. I really want to see Burks at tight end. Did O'Grady get signed? No, he didn't. It's funny how, as far as I know, he didn't. It's funny how Harrell couldn't catch a cold, but still got taken over Shine O'Grady. Well, he signed a contract, right? Or he got a free agency contract, right? I believe that he did. Was it with the Niners? I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Shine O'Grady didn't do himself any favors. I had someone tell me that he was first-round talent. I never saw him as first-round talent, but I always thought he was like a third, fourth-round caliber tight end. I thought he was one of the top 5, top 6 tight ends in that draft class. But his attitude cost him. There's no doubt about that. When people forget, not only did he leave the team, whether it was voluntarily or not, which it was, from what I understand, it was like a mutual understanding between him and Chad Morris. He also got in trouble his first year on campus at Arkansas. If you don't think that the NFL doesn't pay attention to that, or if you don't think that they're paying attention to that, you're wrong. They most certainly do. I agree we have talent more than we get credit for. People don't realize a lot of our problems were due to Morris losing the locker room. Obviously still need work, but we could still surprise, says Ty Humphreys. Let's see. Surprise with the talent and a little buy-in. Injuries kept Hudson out a lot that last season. Now, I'd heard he got hurt, but it wasn't a season-ending injury, and he never really made the field. Michigan Boss, yes, yeah. It's Boss Hog, is it not? Michigan Boss Hog, and then there's Vikings fan, something, set of numbers on PS3 if you want to download updated rosters. Next year you need to do a Fortnite birthday live stream. No, I'm good. I hate Fortnite. I hate it. All right, let's move on to what Hunter Yurchek had to say about COVID and what's been out there, what's tossed around. I actually had that graphic up just a second ago, but let's pop that back up. There it is. This is what Hunter had to say. The announcement today by the Southeastern Conference that scholarships will be honored, and this is referring to the what the NCAA is going to do as far as keeping scholarships. They're going to allow players. They're going to protect their scholarships if they opt out of football this year. So in case you're wondering what this is, regardless of whether they compete in the fall semester, aligns with the University of Arkansas's commitment to the 465-plus student athletes within our program. In these extraordinary times, we remain focused on our mission of developing champions and Razorbacks for life. I anticipate that a majority of our student athletes will choose to compete this year if given the opportunity to do so. However, it is important for us, or for our student athletes, to know if they choose not to participate due to personal concerns related to the pandemic, they will pandemic. I don't know why I said pandemic. They will continue to be supported. That's from Hunter Yurichak. Obviously, he's getting a lot of support from people on Twitter. Good to hear, says Cedric Buckley. Jackie Daytona says, woo damn pig. Patrick A. Wilson says, hashtag WPS. A lot of that. A lot of support on Twitter for that. It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. No problem with that. No problem with that. A lot of rumors out there as to how this season's going to look. And I talked about it on the Hog Talk on the Friday show, which is available today, by the way. I went solo. I think it's like 30 minutes long. I'm not really sure. It's not super long. There's a lot of rumors as to how this year could actually pan out as far as what their scheduling might look like. And some things that we've heard, possible 10-game schedule, where SEC schools could possibly add 2 other teams from within the conference. So you've already got, the rumor has been that you would play your normal, your 8 regular games, right? Or your 6 plus 2. Your 6 SEC West opponents, then your 2 East opponents, which this year are Tennessee and Mizzou. Arkansas obviously plays Mizzou every year. So then the other 2, if you wanted to pan out the rest of the 10, could be SEC East schools. 2 more SEC schools. Now, what makes sense, I don't know that this is official, that Hunter's really commented on this or anyone from the SEC has confirmed this or not, but the whole reason, it's not necessarily the fear of spreading COVID, it's saving money. So, it just depends on what narrative you buy into right now or what you just believe. Or no one really knows as far as I know. And again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But the NCAA or the SEC, Sankey and these guys have not really, it's just that the narrative has been that they want to keep these teams local. And if it's sorry about that. If you couldn't hear that, my kids are screaming bloody murder outside my door. So the reason being is that they want to save money, but you could still play teams within your region. There's so many different rumors out there, and it's like, so if one thing, and Hunter did say this wasn't about money as far as just dealing with all the protocols and COVID-19 and everything. Something isn't, if it's not about the money, and if it's about safety concerns, you still have to travel if you play within the conference. You still have to travel. If this is for safety concerns, now if you want to say, okay, you get 10 games and they all have to be local, you're still going to travel across borderline. You're still going to travel across the state. There's certain areas. Let's say you do play Arkansas State. Let's say somehow you play Arkansas State if we have a season, if they have a season. Boy, you feel for those non-Power 5s. We're already hearing about the other divisions. I feel for the non-Power 5 schools. They could get hit. If we don't have football this year, oh my God. College football, it's already changed dramatically. The landscape's going to change. But if you don't have a year, non-Power 5 schools are going to slowly disappear over the course of the next several months. But anyways, let's say you play Arkansas State, okay, that's reasonable. But Arkansas doesn't have. There's no way you could. Who are you going to play? UCA? If they even have a team come September, whenever they decide to schedule them, you're going to play. Maybe if you want to keep it regional, maybe you schedule Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. You can go a little bit further down south, play Louisiana Lafayette, Louisiana Monroe. I don't know, play Memphis. But you're still in danger as long as you leave. You're taking that risk when you leave your apartment, when you leave your locker room, when you're in the locker room with the guys putting your pads on. Guess what? You're breathing, you're coughing, you're coming within the 6 feet of people. Coaches got to invade the personal space. They got to do their jobs. All this risk to me just seems completely pointless. And to me, it's like either play your regular 12-game schedule, assuming you can. in terms of like these other non, the FCS schools and the teams that aren't going to have a season, or the non-Power Fives that may not have a team come September, October, whatever. But you might as well schedule those games, and if you can't make it, you can't make it. And have these kids sign some kind of waiver or say, hey, if you want to skip the year, if you want to set out, which they're already doing, we're going to honor your scholarship. We're going to uphold our end of the deal here. So give them the option, and then just play your normal games, assuming those schools still exist on your 12-game schedule. So I don't know if this is about money, because if it's about money, then that's one thing. But if this is about like the health and concern of these players, then you might as well just cancel the season, because you risk everything as soon as you leave your house. I saw there was an argument about, it was a former, I don't remember if it was a state senator, I can't remember who was making this argument, but it was talking about a statistic that showed that when you raise the speed limit by 5 miles per hour, that over the course of 3 years, the death percentage goes up quite, not a whole lot, but goes up regardless. You take risk every day you leave your house. And these kids that are old enough who understand the circumstances, they're going to do we all hope they're going to keep their mask on. They're going to practice social distancing. I don't know how they do this with physical sports, with contact sports. But they're in a far better position than, let's say, grade school kids. I think grade school kids, and I believe what they should do across the state is just give the parents the option. You can either, let them stay home or, whatever, let them come to school. That should be up to the parents. I don't want to get into the numbers, but we know that kids, even if they contract it, even if they do get COVID, their survival rate is absurdly, I should say absurdly. That's not I didn't mean to say that. It's compared to the other ages, like when you get up to 70 years old, when you get up to the older crowd, it is substantially higher that if they get it, they may just be asymptomatic. And their likelihood of dying from it is just so incredibly low. But it's still like you should leave that up to the parents. And that seems like what most school districts here in the state are going to do. I don't know what Hutchinson's going to do. Again, masks are mandatory. So when you're asking these high school or these college students, when you're giving them the option, like, hey, look, you can opt out. We're going to hang on. We're going to hang on to your scholarship. We're going to honor that part of the deal, our side of the deal. We're going to honor that. You get to stay at home and do online courses, whatever you want to do. If you're fearful of COVID, nobody's going to blame these kids if they don't. And Hunter Yurchek said it himself. He felt like there's going to be a vast majority, a majority of their student athletes, not a vast majority, but a majority of their student athletes are going to probably suit up and play. Even they're not quite as low on the death rate as, let's say, kids like my kids' age who are 8 and 5, but it's still way, way, way low that they're going to actually even be hospitalized because of COVID. There are current, and by the way, he did talk today about their players that have been affected. Hunter Yurchek says that 300-plus student athletes are back on campus since June 8th. Less than 10 athletes have tested positive, and only 2 staff members so far. Still, about 20 athletes that are currently quarantined, or they're at the end of their 14-day quarantine period, their isolation. But they have recently been tested, and they are negative. And he also believes that testing protocols will be enhanced by fall. So, I'm tired of, like I say this all the time. I say it on every podcast. I say it here. I just want to focus on sports. You can't, though. We have to have this stupid-ass conversation, and then politics gets thrown into it. I'm not here to discuss politics. I don't really, I pay attention to the numbers, but some people get mad at me for even talking about it. It's like we have to. You've got Hunter Yurchek commenting on it. You've got the SEC commenting on it. The NCAA. What do you expect me to do? Ignore it? I got to talk about it, guys. It is what it is. But Hunter Yurchek, look, those are really good numbers. Those are really good numbers. And there was another. Was it Tennessee? I think it was Tennessee. The numbers were very similar. They had 300-something student athletes on campus, and they had 8 test positive for COVID. Now, are they being 100% honest is another question. That's another, we'll see. I have this feeling that we're going to get student athletes. There's already a whole website dedicated to calling out the BS that happens on campuses, which I'm not opposed to. Sure, I think that should exist. But where these players are going in without giving names or without giving their own name and saying, well, this happened. I can already see that blowing up. Hell, I'm surprised it hasn't yet. Where you have these anonymous players come forward. Oh, no, actually half the team tested positive. I can already see that happening. It hasn't yet. But it doesn't make it true. I don't know. You're going to have you then hope that some form of investigation happens, which probably will. But this is just such a mess. Can you trust any of the numbers that the universities are putting out right now? I don't know. I think there's a lot of schools that haven't even put their numbers out. They haven't gone public yet with their testing of COVID-19. So, yeah, I think we covered just about everything so far. I mean, I know there's some other stuff out there, but I gotta go cook dinner for these kids. So I gotta go handle my business. But I do appreciate you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Let me get caught up on chat really quick. What's up, Ty? How's your jacked up year going? Isn't 2020 that's just 2020. That's the tagline for 2020. Jacked up. That's the tagline. Everyone's life is jacked up. Word is that Hornsby can ball. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's been the word for a while. Absolutely. But he won't affect the season, right? Well, we don't know. We don't know. Kyle, typically my Friday co-host, a little skeptical of Felipe, and I don't think that should be shocking to anybody. I mean, when you lose your position when you go down with an injury, and then some kid comes in and takes your spot and keeps it. Playing only conference games. This is from Mark Douglas. Will ensure teams, ours or opponent, don't have to deal with potentially different steps, rules to deal with COVID that other conferences may have in place. Yeah, I'm sure it is, but if it's not a financial thing, well, I don't know. Look, I give these kids the choice. If they don't want to play, you can hold them out, hold on to their scholarship. This stuff is so crazy, guys. Like, this year has changed the whole game. It's unreal. I agree. Children have very little risk, says Dylan Bray. I agree. Stephen Rogers, with Franks, it's probably wise to redshirt Hornsby. I see what you're saying. With Franks being here, yeah, I agree. Me and mine at the time, 7-month-old, had it, and we were 5 months later. H1N1 killed more in 2009, but it wasn't an election year. I'm no comment. I'm not commenting. Also looks like Coley kid committed in the 21 class. Seems pretty solid. He's recruiting for us hard, so it's a hard commit. It seems we've seen that before. We've seen kids commit. One of them signed and then transferred after he was recruiting for us. I ain't had it yet, but I think I have. I ain't had it yet, but if I think I have it, I ain't going to get tested. That looks like it hurts. Yeah. So what they do. I've had a couple of people get tested. They take like this. I don't know if it's like a cotton, like what you clean your ears with, cotton swab on a stick, and they like shove it so far back up into your nose, they like scrape your damn brain with it. I don't. I've had a buddy Marco Polo me after having it done. I wish he would have Marco Polo'd me while it was happening, but he was like, "That is the worst thing." Mother of God above, that was the worst thing I've ever had to go through in my life, was having someone test me for COVID-19. And I've heard that everywhere across social media, people talking about it, their experiences with having, being tested. But supposedly there's other ways that they can test you. I don't know that that's the only way. That's the only method. Are you ready for the MLB? Well, we'll see. I don't know how I feel. I feel like this year's going to be a giant asterisk this year. So, yeah, Tanya, I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you one bit for not having the COVID test. But, should I get tested? I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I should drive down the road and get tested. I don't know. So, okay, thank you guys so much. If you haven't already, tap the subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video, the live stream. Again, shout out to everybody who was able to make the Call of Duty, the birthday live stream on the 15th, on my birthday, on Wednesday. That was a lot of fun. We had an issue at the end. I actually had to just take the whole video down. But at the end, YouTube crashed. And I wasn't able to get it to pull offline. I wasn't able to stop it, and it just kept going. So I had to just, my only option was to delete it. So I'm sorry you guys weren't able to see that. We might do something like that again. But it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate everyone who's able to make it. My test was 10 seconds. 10 seconds of swab in the back of the throat, 10 seconds per nostril swirling. Awful. I shouldn't laugh, but look, I'm a big baby when it comes to that sort of stuff. I'd probably scream, get it out of my nose. Okay. Yeah. Again, thank you guys. I appreciate you. You're rock stars. Don't forget to check out all the links down below. The latest Hog Talk podcast is available. That link is also provided for you down below in the description box. So, I believe I'm looking at my calendar. Monday we should be back to between 5 and 6 live stream time. I hope. But just look for the notification. You should, if you haven't already, also click that little bell that's somewhere located on your screen. That way you're supposed to get a notification regardless. But when you hit that bell, you're supposed to really get that notification. So, and I know notifications haven't been flying out like they're supposed to lately. I don't know what the deal is. Damn you, YouTube is what it is. But anyways, thanks again, guys. Check out the links down below. And don't forget to share the content, share the video. Until